For decades, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA recipients have battled with the same system glitches. Delayed payments, overpayment errors, confusing communication, and a flood of scams preying on the most vulnerable. This Friday, that could begin to change. A major executive order is set to drop, aimed at overhauling everything from outdated tech to the way benefits are distributed and protected. It's a sweeping attempt to modernize the infrastructure that millions depend on, with proposed changes like agency-wide system integration, stricter fraud prevention, revised COLA calculations, and a complete push toward secure electronic payments.
Backhand index pointing right. If this information helped you, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always one step ahead. We break down important updates like this clearly so you're never caught off guard. Join our community, stay informed, and take control of your financial future, starting today. Flexed Biceps Calendar.
This video explains what's coming in the executive order, and why it matters. From faster claims processing and smarter fraud defenses to better digital access and potential overpayment reforms, this is more than a tech upgrade. It's a reset for how benefits are delivered in a digital age. The changes could offer stability and peace of mind to those who need it most, but only if they're done right. We'll also look at the political context behind the timing, the risks of misinformation, and the critical steps beneficiaries can take now to stay protected and prepared. This Friday, the White House is set to issue a major executive order that could directly affect millions of Americans who depend on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits. This isn't speculation. It's confirmed that an order is coming, and it could reshape how benefits are managed, delivered, and protected. For people living on fixed incomes, the stakes couldn't be higher. The issues have been building for years. Delayed payments, broken websites, unreturned calls, outdated technology, and rampant scams. For anyone trying to get clear answers from the Social Security Administration or the Department of Veterans Affairs, the process has become slow, confusing, and often overwhelming. Now, with this executive order, there's a real opportunity to fix what's been broken. The expected reforms are sweeping. One of the most urgent changes: overhauling the system that processes benefit payments. Right now, each agency uses its own platform, its own rules, and its own timelines. That leads to inconsistent processing, errors, and delays that hurt the people who can least afford to wait. The order is expected to push for full integration across the SSA and VA, creating a unified system that delivers payments faster, tracks claims more effectively, and cuts down on processing time. Electronic payments will become the default. This is a move the government has been inching toward for years, but this order is expected to make it official policy. Direct deposits and prepaid benefit cards will replace paper checks for most recipients. That shift will reduce fraud, eliminate mailing delays, and give beneficiaries quicker, safer access to their funds. For older Americans who may not be used to digital banking, this change may take adjustment, but it's a necessary step toward a more secure system. Another major piece of the order: a review and potential update of the COLA formula. Right now, the annual cost of living adjustments are calculated using a model that doesn't accurately reflect how seniors and people with disabilities actually spend their money. It underestimates the rising costs of prescription drugs, housing, and medical care, key expenses for nearly everyone receiving benefits. This reform would require the agencies to re-evaluate that formula and potentially adopt a model that better matches inflation for fixed-income recipients. If implemented, that could mean larger annual increases that keep pace with real-world prices. But speed and payment accuracy are only part of the problem. Communication, or the lack of it, has been one of the biggest frustrations for beneficiaries. Letters arrive too late. Notices are vague. Websites are difficult to navigate. And when recipients try to call for clarification, they sit on hold for hours, if they get through at all. That's why this order is expected to require agencies to upgrade their digital platforms and improve how they notify people of changes. That means faster alerts for payment updates, clearer language in benefit letters, and easier online tools to check payment status and resolve errors. And then there's the issue of fraud. Scammers have made Social Security and VA recipients one of their top targets. They prey on fear and confusion, pretending to be officials asking for sensitive information, and then drain bank accounts or steal identities. This executive order is expected to expand fraud prevention through advanced technology, like instant identity verification, two-step authentication, and AI-based systems to detect suspicious activity before damage is done. Agencies may also be directed to partner with phone companies and financial institutions to flag scam attempts faster and share information publicly. Overpayments are also a central focus. Many recipients are familiar with the dreaded overpayment letters, notifications saying they owe hundreds or even thousands of dollars, often without explanation. These letters are terrifying for people who rely on every cent they get. The new order is expected to create more flexible and transparent procedures for resolving overpayment disputes. That includes clearer notices, longer response times, and better support for recipients who want to challenge or resolve the charges. For veterans, the changes could be even more impactful. The VA has long struggled with slow claims processing and backlogged appeals. The executive order is expected to direct increased funding toward hiring more staff, reducing processing times, and providing faster decisions for disability and healthcare benefits. For a veteran waiting months, or even years, for their claim to be processed, this would be a major shift toward justice and responsiveness. And while these upgrades are overdue, they don't come without context. This announcement is landing just as the political season heats up. With the next election approaching, the timing of this executive order isn't accidental. It's clear that the administration wants to send a message to older Americans, veterans, and people with disabilities. We're listening and we're acting. Critics have already called this a political move, arguing that it's designed to appeal to voters. But regardless of timing, the changes are long overdue. If it takes political pressure to make the system work better, so be it. Beyond the politics, the impact could be enormous. Faster payments, fewer errors, better digital tools, stronger protections from scams, a more modern and fair COLA system. These aren't just technical upgrades. They're changes that directly affect how people live day to day. If done right, this could reduce stress, prevent homelessness, improve health outcomes, and restore a level of trust in agencies that have let many people down. The funding behind these changes also matters. We know that outdated systems and overwhelmed staff have contributed to years of dysfunction. This order may include emergency allocations to increase staffing and technology upgrades, critical steps to ensure that the agencies can actually deliver on these promises. A modern system can't run on 1990s infrastructure, and beneficiaries can't afford to wait any longer. Still, as with any major reform, it's not going to happen overnight. The executive order will outline the direction, but implementation will take time. Agencies will need to issue internal guidance, train staff, upgrade systems, and roll out changes in phases. That means beneficiaries need to stay informed, and not assume that every change will be immediate. In the meantime, scammers will use this announcement to their advantage. They will claim the executive order requires you to update your account, or that your benefits are changing and you need to verify something. Do not engage. Do not give out personal information to anyone who calls, emails, or texts claiming to be from the government. Use only official government websites like SSA.gov or VA.gov to check for updates. And most importantly, make sure your contact information and banking details are up to date. If this order accelerates the move toward electronic payments, you'll want to be ready. If your direct deposit information is outdated, or your mailing address hasn't been updated, you could miss important communications. Take the time now to log into your online account, confirm your information, and make any necessary changes. This executive order is a big step. Not a solution to everything, but a major move in the right direction. The broken systems, the long delays, the frustrating errors, they've caused real harm. And this may be the first serious attempt in years to fix them at the federal level. So watch closely. Stay informed. Follow only trusted official sources. Share accurate updates with others, especially those who may not be as plugged in. And make sure your own records are current. If this order delivers what it promises, the benefit system could finally become what it was always meant to be: reliable, fair, and centered on the people it serves. Check for updates from SSA.gov and VA.gov. Review your contact information. Help others stay informed. And keep your guard up against fraud. These changes could bring lasting improvements, but only if you're ready. The reforms in this executive order have the potential to change everything, but only if they are implemented with the urgency and accountability that the moment demands. For years, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA beneficiaries have lived under the weight of a system that feels indifferent. A system that still relies on outdated platforms, disjointed communication, and policies that haven't adapted to a modern economy or a digital society. People aren't just waiting for their checks, they're waiting for dignity. For a process that treats them like human beings instead of case numbers lost in government spreadsheets. This Friday's executive order might finally be the wake-up call these systems needed. We're talking about integrating fragmented agency operations into a single streamlined system that works efficiently, transparently, and with the precision beneficiaries deserve. Delays in payments aren't just inconveniences. They're emergencies. When a disability check arrives a week late, rent is late. Prescriptions go unfilled. Food runs low. And until now, there's been no serious accountability for these delays. This executive order is expected to confront those failures head-on. By forcing integration between the Social Security Administration and the Department of Veterans Affairs, the government is signaling that the status quo is no longer acceptable. When systems don't communicate, people fall through the cracks. Veterans with dual eligibility get bounced between departments. Appeals vanish into black holes. And beneficiaries are left in the dark about what's happening to the money they depend on to survive. The shift to electronic payments is another critical move. As more scams target paper checks and as mail theft becomes a growing threat, this push to go digital isn't just about efficiency, it's about security. But here's where it gets tricky. Not everyone has a bank account. Not everyone is comfortable navigating online portals. That's why the expected expansion of prepaid debit cards for benefits is so important. These cards are safe, easy to use, and don't require a traditional banking relationship. For many recipients, especially seniors living alone or in rural areas, this could be the safest way to ensure money is received and protected. But that's just one piece. Reforming the COLA formula could have lasting consequences. The current method uses the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, CPIW, a formula that doesn't even pretend to reflect the actual expenses of seniors and people with disabilities. It tracks gas prices, electronics, and other goods that don't represent how older Americans and disabled recipients spend their limited income. Switching to a formula like the Consumer Price Index for the elderly, CPIE, or at least incorporating medical and housing inflation more heavily, could produce COLA increases that are actually meaningful. That means more accurate adjustments, and benefits that don't erode the second they land in the bank. And then there's the nightmare of overpayments. For years, beneficiaries have been blindsided by sudden notices from SSA or VA demanding thousands of dollars back, sometimes for errors the government made, not the recipient. The current system gives little warning and often no clear explanation. In many cases, people are told their benefits will be docked until the amount is repaid. It's terrifying, it's confusing, and it has pushed already vulnerable people into homelessness and financial collapse. That's why this order is expected to introduce more humane and transparent policies around overpayments. Agencies may be required to give extended time for responses, clearer breakdowns of where the debt came from, and improved processes for challenging or appealing these notices. If done correctly, it could mean an end to the fear and panic so many feel when they open a letter from SSA or VA. The issue of communication can't be overstated either. In recent years, a common complaint from beneficiaries has been, "I can't get anyone to call me back," or, "I didn't even know my benefits were cut." That is unacceptable. No one living on the edge should have to spend hours trying to get answers from a system built to support them. That's why this order's expected emphasis on better digital tools is critical. We're talking about live payment tracking, alerts for changes, and secure messaging directly through online portals. For those without internet access or smartphones, these reforms must still include traditional methods, like automated phone systems that actually work and paper communications that are timely and understandable. No reform should leave people behind just because they're not connected to Wi-Fi. The fraud prevention measures may end up being one of the most impactful parts of the order. As more scams target beneficiaries, the government has struggled to keep up. Fake SSI agents, spoofed phone numbers, phishing emails. Seniors and disabled Americans are losing their life savings to criminals who exploit a broken system. This executive order is expected to mandate a new level of protection. That includes multi-factor authentication for benefit accounts, AI systems to flag suspicious account activity, and public awareness campaigns that teach people how to spot a scam. There may also be new partnerships between federal agencies and banks or telecom companies to share scam intelligence and block fraudulent attempts before they reach the recipient. And for veterans, especially those stuck in the slow-grinding machinery of the VA, the executive order could finally bring the relief they've been promised for years. Faster claims processing, more staff to handle case backlogs, and quicker responses for healthcare needs. That's not just welcome, it's long overdue. These aren't abstract changes. They're daily survival. This executive order doesn't just affect policy. It affects lives. It's about whether a widow in Ohio can keep her power on. Whether a disabled worker in Texas can access a necessary medical device without waiting 6 months. Whether a veteran in California gets the hearing aid they've needed since last winter. And whether the next time a fraudulent phone call comes in, the person on the other end knows how to hang up and report it. Now is the time to be prepared. This Friday's announcement will set things in motion, but the full impact won't be felt overnight. There will be rollouts, pilot programs, and gradual implementation. It's crucial that you stay informed every step of the way. That means reviewing your contact and banking information. If your address or account numbers have changed, update them immediately through ssa.gov or va.gov. That's the only way to make sure you receive the right notices, the right payments, and the right protections. This isn't just a technical update or a bureaucratic reshuffling. This is a system reboot that's been years in the making. People have waited long enough. For decades, beneficiaries of Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA programs have carried the weight of a government structure that's grown too slow, too tangled, and far too disconnected from the real lives it's meant to support. This executive order, set to be announced Friday, is not just a policy shift. It's a direct response to the rising frustration, the endless wait times, the lost paperwork, and the cold silence that too many have faced when they needed help the most. Let's be clear. This isn't about creating something new. It's about fixing what should have worked all along. When someone who served their country can't get a response to a disability claim for months, that's not a clerical error. It's a betrayal. When a senior waits on hold for hours just to be told to check the website, it's not an inconvenience, it's systemic failure. And when thousands of people are hit with sudden overpayment notices, without warning or clarity, and are told to pay it back or lose their only source of income, that's not just bad policy, it's cruelty by neglect. This order is finally forcing the system to acknowledge its own failures and act. Not with vague promises but with concrete reforms. Faster processing, unified systems, real-time access to information, stronger fraud prevention, better support when things go wrong. These are changes that can and must happen, not over years but now. Because the need isn't hypothetical, it's immediate. Think about the tens of thousands of people still navigating the appeals process for benefits they're clearly eligible for. Think about the veterans who've had to fight harder to prove their injuries than they did in combat. Think about the senior who has to ration medication because the COLA bump didn't even keep up with their grocery bill. These aren't fringe cases. They are everyday stories. And this executive order, if followed through, could start to right those wrongs. And while the reforms are long overdue, this rollout must be handled with transparency and caution. Every time big changes are announced, confusion follows. Scammers thrive in these moments. They know people are desperate for good news. That's why the push to modernize must come with a clear message. Only trust official sources. No text message will ever ask for your social security number. No email will ask you to click a link to claim your updated payment. No phone call from a government agent will ever demand immediate action to avoid benefit cuts. If you're ever unsure, don't respond. Hang up. Log off. Go directly to ssa.gov or va.gov. That's it. Anything else is a risk. And here's another piece that can't be ignored: funding. None of these changes will work without investment. Takes money to update ancient government databases. It takes money to train and hire the staff needed to handle claims with care and speed. It takes money to build digital platforms that work for everyone, including those who aren't tech-savvy. The executive order is expected to include emergency funding allocations for staffing and modernization. That's not just a budget line. That's a commitment to finally treating beneficiaries like the priority they should have always been. Let's not forget the broader context here. Yes, this is about improving service. Yes, it's about fixing long-standing technical issues. But more than that, it's about restoring faith. Faith in the institutions people have paid into for decades. Faith in the promises made to veterans, to workers, to the disabled. Faith that when something goes wrong, the government will show up and make it right. Not months later, not buried in red tape, but right then and there. That kind of trust is fragile. It's been eroded. This executive order is a chance to rebuild it, but only if it's backed by action. So here's what needs to happen next. Beneficiaries need to check their personal information. Log into ssa.gov or va.gov. Make sure your address, direct deposit information, and contact preferences are current. That's how you ensure you get any updates or communications tied to these reforms. Help others do the same. Not everyone knows how to navigate the online portals. If someone you know, an elderly neighbor, a family member, a friend, might need help, offer it. Explain where to go. Help them avoid scams. Make sure they're not left in the dark. And stay informed. The executive order is coming. The rollout will take time. Some changes will be immediate. Others will develop in phases. Stay connected to the official channels so you know what's real and what's rumor. Because when this system changes, you want to be ready. This isn't just a headline. It's not just another announcement. It's a long overdue admission that the system has to change. And now it finally will. So take the steps. Follow the facts. Watch the rollout carefully. And remember, this is about your benefits, your livelihood, your security. Keep your information updated. Trust only official sources. And stay alert. Because what happens next could bring real, lasting change for the millions of Americans who've waited far too long for a system that works.